Now we're ready for our next update regarding identity management. Here now to provide us with the update is Project Manager JB Dunn and Technical Expert Ed Rhines. JB and Ed, over to you.
Thank you, Tyler, and welcome everyone to Projects Live. This is the section on identity management. I'm JB Dunn.
And I'm Ed Rhines.
And we're going to refresh a little bit your memories of identity management systems. The fact that it validates that you are, in fact, who you claim to be when you log on to the identity management systems or when you log on to the information systems here at the university. It doesn't give you access to those systems. It simply validates identity. Isn't that right, Ed?
That's right. The information system basically holds not just your user ID and password, though. It has also other information about you, such as your role within the university and various other information about you that can be used by other systems as needed. So it's a very robust system.
And then this project is going to put our identity management processes onto a vendor-hosted platform. So there's two fundamental efforts that we have underway. The first is to get the hosting of the identity database for some of the external systems, such as QuickBase or WebEx, services that the university gets from other service providers. And then the second part of the project will interoperate with the case information systems themselves, the internal systems. Ed, can you give the audience a little better understanding of the distinction between the two?
Sure. Basically, when you log into a third-party system and get the single sign-on screen, you're connecting into our identity management system via the hosted identity management system. And it basically allows other sites to use our user IDs and passwords, so you don't have to have a separate account set up on every single one of these systems. It's in use on quite a few systems throughout that are heavily used within the university.
And then how does that differ, Ed, from the interaction with the internal systems?
Well, the internal systems, what we're talking about here as the second phase of the project, is the internal workings of how the identity management system actually figures out who's who and what they do, and it gathers information from things like the student information system or HR and so on and so forth, and compiles all that together and figures out not only who you are, but what your role is in the university. Are you a student, staff, faculty, whatever, and other information about you that may be needed for other university business.
I see. So that's the provisioning part of the identity management
That's
system,
right.
isn't it? I get it. So let's talk a little bit then about what comes next. We've got these two initiatives underway, and right now we're in the design phase for the provisioning environment for the internal systems, and we're in the process of updating the case environment for those external systems. So let's take a look for a moment at the external systems, the service providers. We had to upgrade the environment from the older version to the new 3.0 version, and we're using the 3.0 version now for more and more of our systems that are for more and more of the systems that the university is interoperating with. When we get all of those onto the 3.0 platform, then we're ready to move them to Fischer. Now on the external systems, that's the provisioning, right, Ed?
That's correct. For the internal systems.
For the internal systems, yes.
Yeah. Basically, we're still very early in the design sessions. We're just mapping out how things work here. It's a very complicated system within the university, getting information from all over the university, different departments, different schools, and everything, all compiled into one system. So it's a very complicated process of going through and documenting all of these data flows. So that's where we're at the moment.
And so that design process, once it gets completed, then the next step is for the vendor to figure out how they're going to go about building that particular solution. So once everyone's agreed on the design, they're able to really scope the work necessary to actually build the solution, and then we're ready to start testing it. But we'll need for them to figure all that out
Right.
before we know what that effort's going to be. Isn't that right, Ed?
Right, and we haven't gotten to that stage yet.
So we'll keep people posted as they tune into Projects Live. We'll keep you updated on what's progressing. And as things emerge and we have a better idea of what will change, we'll bring you greater awareness of that.
Right.
We're not expecting a lot of change, are we, Ed?
No, the functionality will all remain the same. It's going to be pretty much the same system that you see now. What will change is you'll be going to different web pages to do things like password resets and activating your account and things like that. So there will be some visible changes. We'll know more about those once we get through the design sessions. But for the most part, there won't be any dramatic changes at this stage.
And if there are, people will learn about it through these broadcasts and some of the other communications plans that are being put together by the communications team, and where training is necessary. Training courses will be announced, and through the portal that you'll learn more about in future broadcasts, you'll be able to find out where you can get any of the information that you'll need to adapt to the changes well in advance of them coming on board. With that, Tyler, do we have any questions from the audience?
Just one quick question here, JB. So you spoke a lot about the technical reasons for implementing this new identity management system. I mean, it touches everything from HCM to student records and so on. Very important. What are you making, what steps are you taking, I should say, to make sure that things are going smoothly and will go smoothly moving forward?
Well, I think the key there is the design that Ed was talking about, Tyler. It's critical that we look very carefully at every detail and make sure we've accounted for everything. And then we have to also do very effective validation testing to verify the systems behave as expected before we put them into production. So a lot of care goes into the planning and the design, a lot of testing to validate it works as expected. I think that's all we have time for today, but thank you all for tuning in to Projects Live. We'll be back next month with an update on the progress for the identity management system. Thank you.
Thank you.